What's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. I'm a little bit under the weather. My throat hurts. Apologies if I sound a little bit croaky, but welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's been said about Chelsea, giving you my opinion on it, more importantly, asking for yours. It's at least once a day, this series, ladies and gentlemen. Could be more. Sterling could be announced today. Updates on him, Raphinha story, and an article from The Telegraph written by Matt Law. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for this episode. Please do drop a like if you want to show some support. And you're welcome to subscribe, of course, if you're yet to do so. Like I said, man, popping off at the moment. You know, so sometimes you get 2 or 3 videos a day. That's why it's sensible to turn the bell notice icon on so you don't miss a beat, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it. Right! Raheem Sterling has completed his medical, or at least the main part of it. So saith Nathan Gissing, however you say it, the guy who works for Damartio, and of course Fabrizio Romano tweeting this. Raheem Sterling has completed the main part of his medical tests in London yesterday. Contract signed until June 2027, plus option for further year. Of course, 5-year contract plus a 1-year potential extension, should Chelsea want to trigger it and protect their asset for a further year. Matter of time for the official statement. It's all signed between the two clubs with Manchester City. It's done. It's dusted. Contract signed, medical completed, let the good times roll, baby. I feel good, man. Saw Joe Tweedy tweeting about how our left-hand side hasn't looked as good for a long time as having Ben Chilwell behind Reece James? No. Behind Raheem Sterling. He's the player we've just signed. And that's true. He will be playing on the left. Reports suggest that Tuchel got on the phone to him and has explained a role for him, how he sees him playing on the left wing, and how we can get the best out of him and he can get the best of our attack. Hopefully this time, these phone calls with Raheem Sterling that convinced him he can be utilised well works better than whatever was said on the phone to Romelu Lukaku originally. But trust in Thomas Tuchel, he deserves that. Before we jump into an article on The Telegraph, let's do an update with Raphinha, who is going to Barcelona. His dream has been realised. I'll give you some context. First off, Ben Jacobs tweeting this, of course, football correspondent for CBS, can confirm Leeds and Barcelona have finally reached an agreement this evening for Raphinha. My understanding is the 50 million euro plus 10 fee is incorrect. Leeds rejected that offer quite some time ago, and the deal is currently actually worth closer to 75 million euros. Wow. 75 million euros for the Leeds player. 50 million euro plus 10 would be significantly lower than what Chelsea bid, but lower than Barcelona's own 60 million guaranteed rejected offer yesterday. Barcelona were always confident of getting Raphinha, but it's not true that the deal has been in place for weeks, only tonight. So this is last night. Barcelona always look set to re-sign Ousmane Dembele. Club sources have always said they wanted both players if finances allow. Xavi has pushed hard for the Dembele contract to be approved in the last 48 hours. Barring a late twist, he'll sign a 2-year deal with a 40% wage cut. Wow, he must really want to stay at Barcelona if he's going to sign just a 2-year deal with a 40% wage cut. Imagine getting half your pay in a really small contract. No security there in a small contract. Fair play, these guys want to play for Barcelona, play for Barcelona. Chelsea have a plethora of attackers, and we've just signed another one. Who knows? Anyway, for more context on that gives you a little bit more, perhaps, understanding from a Chelsea perspective. Nick Purell, of course, a journalist, correspondent for I forget which paper, anyway, whatever, Nick Purell, I think he's right for The Guardian? One moment, I just really want to check this out because I've been following him for a while. PA Media, okay, fair enough. But anyway, he's pretty well informed with Chelsea. Nick Purell said, Raphinha is understood to have always been viewed at Chelsea as a bonus, with Sterling as the top target. It's a great signing for Barca, though the finance saga drags on. Chelsea would back existing attacking options, especially with Sterling, but will keep pushing on others who can play across the line. So maybe they'll look at one more. Who knows? But Chelsea do have a lot of attackers. Attackers that already wanted more game time. We'll look at Sterling to revitalise the attack, perhaps the re-inclusion of Callum Hudson-Odoi, and of course the all-important wing-backs of Ben Chilwell and Reece James returning to the lineup, and more signings will come, whether that's wing-back cover, a midfielder, of course defenders, etc., etc. That will revitalise the team, hopefully. But yeah, it does look like Raphinha was always a bit of a bonus, and the new attacker they prioritised was Raheem Sterling. Alright, there are, by the way, sources. I'm not going to talk about this story today big time, but I just want to reference it quickly. You've probably seen in the media, Arsenal are trying to sign, or it's been reported that Arsenal want N'Golo Kante. He's got 12 months left on his deal. I guess the speculation is that maybe Chelsea would consider signing him. I would not want N'Golo Kante to go to Arsenal. Even if you think, he's his best days are behind him and it's an opportunity to make some money on a guy that's north of 30, no. I don't want that. It was fine giving them David Luiz. It was fine giving them Willian. It was fine even giving them Cech, considering where he was in his career. It's not okay giving them N'Golo Kante. Right, let's jump into this article. I'm going to link this down in the description. It's from Matt Law, who's over in Los Angeles, reporting on the preseason tour and, Chelsea signings and whatnot. Chelsea's new era begins in Los Angeles, but new owners have problems to solve. Chelsea are short star quality on tour, and the squad wage bill needs balancing this summer. Okay, this gives you context of what we're working with. Iqbali and, of course, Todd Bowley are going to have a look at what they've got. It's a half-an-hour drive across Los Angeles from the famous Hollywood Walk of Fame to the UCLA campus where Chelsea have started the club's new era. Talent may not be in short supply, but with Raheem Sterling yet to join his new teammates for pre-season training, there is a striking lack of star appeal about the Chelsea squad that the new co-owners Todd Bowley and Bedad Iqbali will cast an eye over for the first time this week. Thiago Silva is a genuine global name, while Mason Mount and Reece James are on their way to becoming marketable assets outside the UK. But Chelsea's La La Land roster is heavy with B-listers. I'm just going to sip my water on a sec. Perhaps that's why Bowley and Iqbali would have been tempted of the idea of signing Cristiano Ronaldo from Manchester United, even though Tuchel may well be more reticent. The Portuguese would certainly be familiar with the Hollywood stargazers and the LAFC supporters, who will catch the first glimpse of the club's new signing Gareth Bale, a former teammate of Ronaldo at Real Madrid following his arrival in the United States. Even with Sterling jets in to provide some stardust, Bowley and Iqbali will see for themselves why the club that cost them $4.25 billion all in have fallen so far behind Man City and Liverpool when they watch head coach Thomas Tuchel and his players work in LA. God, Matt Law is coming in hard on these players. Like, they're all a bunch of B-Tech has-beens. Many of you will probably agree on a lot of them. The player Tuchel described as being Chelsea's Neymar, N'Golo Kante, has not been able to travel along with Ruben Loftus-Cheek because they have not been vaccinated. And N'Golo Kante, the aforementioned N'Golo Kante, with 12 months left on his deal, being linked to Arsenal. He is a superstar, though. Tuchel would have grown tired of the diplomat role he was forced to play during the end of last season when former owner Roman Abramovich was sanctioned, restrictions were imposed on Chelsea, and we were put up for auction. Not really just auction, it was finding the best owner, which I believe we probably still have. I mean, all the alternatives, none of them suited my requests and needs for ownership of my club. And yet, some of the first questions he will have to answer in LA during what should be a fresh start with him in Chelsea will be regarding the vaccination status of the team's most popular star man. So he'll be asked about N'Golo Kante. Before the signing of Sterling, Kante was Chelsea's highest earner still at the club, and is a remarkable situation that he can miss 2 weeks of the preseason. Look, I'm not gonna go too much into this because I'm not going to talk about vaccine status on the channel here. I'm talking about football. There are far too many players in Chelsea's travelling squad who are notable for how long they have spent on the sidelines or out on loan at the other clubs while costing millions of pounds of wages. So this is the issue with Chelsea's, how we've been run. Businessmen as successful as Bowley and Iqbali will know only too well that Kepa Arrizabalaga, Kennedy, Malang Sarr, Ross Barkley, Michy Batshuayi, oh god, this is making me queasy, are costing them in a region of £500,000 per week. Or £2 million a month on those boys. Tottenham Hotspur head coach Antonio Conte has been able to leave his unwanted players at home, while his squad, containing 5 new signings already, have travelled to Korea, where Heung-min Son is very much the showstopper. It makes sense, really, going to Korea, doesn't it? Chelsea, in comparison, remains saddled with those who have failed to make an impact in the side, such as Timo Werner, Ziyech and Pulisic, who are yet to prove value for money. Hold on, I'm going to take issue with this. I do think, despite everything, I think Timo Werner has been value for money. I think as a £47 million player, he's been a really useful wide attacker or just forward player. Yes, he hasn't got the goals. He's got some goals. He's got assists. He's worked hard. He's been important in trophy wins. I think for £47 million, I think that probably proves okay value, to be honest, mate. With doubts hanging over the futures of Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso, who are both being pursued by Barcelona and their by now pay later transfer war chest, it's Chelsea's English contingent who Bowley and Iqbali will be able to view with most excitement this week. The new owners were not only the new owners were not the only bidders for Chelsea who were surprised to see Mount and James at the lower end of the pay scale when the club opened its books to potential buyers. Bowley will look to rectify the imbalance relatively quickly, with Mount and James in line to receive new contract offers, along with goalkeeper Edouard Mendy, who currently earns less than his understudy Kepa, which is wild, really, if you think about it. Ben Chilwell's return from injury is a big positive for Tuchel, and the success of the left back since his £50 million signing from Leicester City may have helped to convince the German that spending big on Premier League pedigree in Sterling was wise business. I just want to say, I tweeted this yesterday, I caught so much smoke for backing Ben Chilwell over Nicola Tagliafico and Sergio Reguilon. Where is Tagliafico now? I don't think anyone knows. Reguilon is one of those aforementioned players that's been left at home and hasn't gone on pre-season tour with Tottenham. And Ben Chilwell is clear of both of them. This is. I just wanted to say that I backed him. Everyone's like, oh, he's not worth the money. He's just some English, He is worth the money. He's amazing. And I think maybe, I know Declan Rice would cost a lot more money, but I think there's parallels there. People underrate Premier League proven experience, and I think we might, with Sterling, get another example of why it's useful. But the need for other further reinforcements, particularly in defence, is glaringly obvious. The departures of Rudiger, Christensen mean that Tuchel is likely to pick from Azpilicueta, 37-year-old Thiago Silva, Trevor Chalobah, and promising teenager Colwill for Chelsea's first pre-season friendly against in Las Vegas. Nathan Ake, who Chelsea agreed personal terms with, may not offer Hollywood curb appeal, but ticks lots of boxes for Tuchel in terms of being a replacement on the left-hand side for Rudiger. There are other defensive targets, of course, De Ligt, Kimpembe, Koundé, Koulibaly, who could join as immediate A-listers. Certainly De Ligt would, considering his age and stuff. But the reality is that Chelsea would, and their new owners would have a long way to go before they can even compete at the highest level again. True. I'm going to put this article down in the description. Sorry if I've been a little bit not overly assertive with the way I've been reading this. I think I have got a bit of a cold, so I apologise for that. Generally good news, though. I think this is the beginning of positive stuff in terms of Sterling over the line, completes medical. We can expect more players to follow, and the owners being out in America to basically cast their eye over what's actually going on out there and what Chelsea need and who's playing and stuff. I don't know how much they know about football, and yes, Todd Bowley calls it football. He doesn't call it soccer. Will he have a good enough eye to be like, these guys aren't as good as Man City. I need to replace some more players. Of course, all the reports suggest that Chelsea will sign 5 or 6 players. We've signed one. He's a big one. He's a big profile. He's a big name. But we'll see what happens from here. Right, let me know what you think. Thank you for joining me. Comment down below. I really do appreciate the interactions. Again, I apologize for being a bit under the weather today. If I do another video later, hopefully I'll perk up. Keep it locked. It's an exciting time at Chelsea. I look forward to speaking to you very soon. Peace.